Hello and welcome back, Paladins fans, to the Path to the Premier Qualifiers today.
I missed you.
I missed you, man.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. It's been about 24 hours here since you were up, but today it's all about North America. My name is Pretty Hair, and welcome. I'm joined today again by Mr. Cred. We're very excited to bring this action to you today, but first things first, guys. If you haven't been aware already, the console has gone into the open beta phase, so Xbox and PS4 is now free to play. If you have either of those, feel free to hop in there and get started on your
And
grind.
now is the time to get started because we do have console esports on the horizon starting in like 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And that's going to culminate at DreamHack Valencia.
Sure is. The big LAN here in the summer is that summer premiere at DreamHack Valencia. We've already started here on the open bracket qualifiers. It's going to go for 4 weeks. After that concludes, we're going to take the top 4 teams. We're going to put them into a round robin for 3 weeks. And then from there, the top 2 will qualify for that DreamHack Valencia premiere. But there is also the console side of this summer premiere.
Yeah, so that was PC. Let's talk about console. And we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be 6 weeks of qualifiers on a per platform basis.
Yeah, that's the most exciting part about
NA
this.
Xbox, NA PS4, EU Xbox, EU PS4. You're going to play in your region on your console for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
The #1 team from your region and your console is going to go to DreamHack Valencia to face off in our console wars.
And that's the most exciting part, because not only are you fighting for your regional pride, but you are also fighting for your platform supremacy.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and take a look back at yesterday, the European standings, to see what kind of unfolded there. And you can see in first place with 100 points, it was District 69 that actually did come out on top. These are the standings. This is the point breakdown. So basically, however these teams place today, they will receive these points, and this is how they will be selected as the top 4 after this 4-week period concludes.
That's right. We are picking up the cast with the semifinals, so we'll see 25, 40, 60, and 100 points delved out today.
Yeah,
I
there is
believe
a problem with the demo files here for this first series, but it's fine. So we've got the other series all queued up and ready to go for you guys. So we're going to head on
Which I'm
down,
actually a little more excited for.
because these teams we don't know at all. These are the 2 fresh new guys.
Right.
So while we work out the problems with that first series, we're just going to go ahead and throw you guys down to the bottom side of the bracket and just keep the action rolling here. So once we get ahead here, we're going to go ahead and get to the champion draft for that series. We will come back to Astral Authority and Spooky Sports. You will not miss out on those games, hopefully. And it will be Impact here with the first pick. So
yeah, Impact probably still going to be the Makoa.
I mean, he was first pick for a long time. It was Bomb King for a small period there during the Masters Lands, but as Bomb King has been kind of reined back in, Makoa, there's nothing particularly, you know, overpowered about this. It's just the uniqueness and what the Dredge Anchor will provide to a team.
Brings a lot. Brings a lot. Map is going to be Frozen Guard, by the way, not Bright Marsh.
Yes.
Sorry for a little bit of the confusion there. And if you're confused about these 2 teams, I am a little bit too. Like, I don't really know them that well, but I know who they've beaten to get here. Impact took down Denial Esports, your boy Bitey, Wi-Fi, Stolzy, all of them.
Crazy.
IWWA took down Kungarna, old name in the scene. I believe Prince Danny playing for them now. So neither of those, and none of those players are going to be making it through the semifinals. We are going to see Impact versus IWWA. Shaolin and Cassie, so the double archers over there on the right with Victor and Meldama on the left for
This
Impact.
is Frozen Guard, so you can kind of see a little bit of that in the draft reflected here, as all the characters selected thus far don't really have any fall-off. You're looking at the Shaolin, the Cassie, the Victor, all characters that excel very much so from range, but more characters contested later in the draft usually are things like Kinessa, but they are easily countered if you leave yourself open too early in the draft, so we could see Impact go into that as we head into the final phase. IWWA, as they haven't selected a healer yet, what this kind of does to their draft is they can't really counterpick. They've kind of shown all their hand exactly what they want. They are picking a healer. We think, you know, you never know for sure, but most likely going to go with a healer in that final slot.
I think that's fine though, right? Like the Shaolin Kinessa, you've picked your primary damage core, and by the time you get to your second set of picks,
if you have
I think you're able to decide whether you want double tank or single tank. You know, maybe there's some situations, but the value of taking the Ruckus away with the Fernando, I think, is more than having that counter pick. It is going to be Ying versus Meldamba for the healers. Drogoz, Androxus, and Victor on Impact. So let's see what goes on in this game, Impact versus EWA. I'm excited, man. I want to see what these two teams have going for them.
These are definitely two solid drafts. It's just going to come down to who gets the kills at the end of the day here. We can see PowTecH on his Ripened Gourd. Assets here for Godslayer, Androxus, ElZulu with yet to select a legendary Cacanuck, going to be on Fusillade, Drogoz, and Gunnery for nveeus' Victor. This is a strong roster.
That's right. On the other side, Invocal, Recurve Shaolin, JAKEB, Dodge Roll Cassie, Scorch from William, 355, DarkRider playing Focusing Lens Ying, and Protection playing Ruckus with Flux Generator.
ElZulu ended up going for that pluck style Makoa, so gonna have to use a lot of this damage. See, Impact has a much higher DPS roster there with the Androxus, with the Victor, with the Drogoz, and even with the pluck Makoa. So the idea here is that with this double tanks, it's gonna be strong early. It's gonna be tough to break early before those Wreckers and Cauterizes come online, but at the end of the day, I think if they hold out, the team with the more, DPS champions and the more damage can bring it through in the late game.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me about Frozen Guard is actually the way healers play on this map, right? Because Ying, if you're putting your illusions inside the igloo structure, I feel like they're more than usual really likely to die, right? Maldama, on the other hand, he's got the range. If you're trying to heal from outside the igloo into the igloo, maybe people are moving, you can't quite get the shots you want. So that healing positioning is something that really interests me. We'll see if it ends up making a difference as Ruckus, very early on in the capture point, just blasting away.
And this is what we expect from the double tank composition. They're going to bully their way, but this is what we expect from the damage composition. They're starting to rip through these shields. They're starting to break these tanks down slowly but surely. A little bit out of position here. Not a single kill drop for the blue team yet. Team Impact in total control of this. They quickly dismantle all the shields, all the tankiness.
And just hard zone, right? With Victor, there's no way you're getting through here on your horse. It's just not happening. He's not even aiming. That's like straight up suppressing fire.
He's pre-firing all those guys coming out of spawn.
Also noticed Ying died first. Ying first blood is like super rare. She's usually so hard to kill, and especially because some people might not know this, Dimensional Link always works. Usually it'll teleport you with one of your clones, right? But if you haven't ever cast any, it'll actually just pull you back in time and move you back to where you were before. So if you're caught out of position, you Dimensional Link right away, you're like going back to your base.
Had to be, as a result of maybe a lot of burst damage coming off the Dredge Anchor as well. Trading out kill for kill. The payload has been secured by Team Impact. That's kind of one of the consequences here of Frozen Guard. If you lose a team fight and then get zoned, you probably don't have a chance at getting back onto this point. There's a nice fire spit over the top. DarkRider's going to fall. Fernando's a little bit caught out here. And EWA, if they lose this early game with a double tank composition, it's going to be very rough for them going forward.
Yeah, I mean, with the conversion, right, going into, well, you know, maybe it's fast enough that Impact can't really afford, like, the Wrecker 2s and the Cauterized 2s.
That's the dream.
That can definitely happen. It's really not the dream because that means they capped in, like, 2 minutes flat, 3 minutes flat. But that might be the only hope. Protection, you're just getting wrecked, not really paying attention, not really sure what was going on there.
So Shaolin here with a good angle onto this backline is going to continue to lay fire in. Just looking for something, anything right now. Impact definitely in total control of this. Nice fire spin over the wall. Going to go into the plant and landing one shot, but 3 kills the way of Team Impact.
Shouts to the Monarch Revolver, though.
Yeah, that's one of the newest
Nature chest
in game. Going to be in that Nature
chest. Check it out. So
all
cool.
Good stuff in there. 36 seconds remaining. 2 ultimates actually online right now. We can take a look at some of the item purchases coming online.
And look at that. I mean, so there is definitely enough currency from Impact. Not only did they capture and convert very quickly, they got a lot of kills along the way. So you're going to see quite rich players coming out of the blue team right now. On the other side of EWA, man, I don't know. It's going to be real tough.
Just not enough credits there. You can see it's such a big power spike to get those offensive items to the level 2 mark. The Wrecker 2 being, 150% extra damage against shields. Cauterized 2 providing 60%, as if Ying's job wasn't already difficult enough. She's been struggling to keep her team alive. She's
been struggling to
keep
stay
herself
alive.
Hooked in immediately. Fernando takes a lot of damage, but he will be the first blood there. A nice fire spit over the top. There's a Dragon Punch coming through as well. Isn't going to land on anyone, but going to retain 30%.
I like to turn back at the last minute just to try and get behind some cover. It's not going to work out too well, though, as actually JAKEB rolling forward. He could be the hope for his team, but taken down by nveeus.
Big Dread Serpent as well, just to secure 1 kill that was already at about half health. That could be a little bit of a wasted ultimate there. Acid starting to fall low and doesn't have any cooldowns. Thankfully, Fernando is ignoring him for the time being. 1 dash available to him, going to get out. of that one. Has the nice shot there, takes down Protection. Makoa's on the point, 42%. This one is much more even than last round, but a big reversal is going to send Invocal back to base.
And that's the power of the Godslayer right there as JAKEB falls as well to Zulu. Fernando not going to last too much longer as it's just Ying in the front. She can try and buy some time, but ain't going to be enough.
These shots are very impressive from Acids. Wild targets are being dredged towards Makoa. She did dimensional link herself out, but it's going to be a little bit too late. So small win there. Impact's going to capture the second payload of the game here.
Oh, Protection, though, getting absolutely blasted off of that pluck. Immediately losing like 3,000 health. Unbelievable. JAKEB rolling forward. Could be the hope for his team, but maybe it's a little too early for hope.
Does find a pick there on the nveeus, pushing just slightly too forward. Misses the roll shot, so won't have the reset. Gonna have to fight this one out. Man, fight style. One more shot's gonna do it here from Acid. But a nice midair combo from JAKEB keeps himself alive.
I mean, he just took that moment to collect himself, right? Missed 3 shots in a row. Very uncharacteristic. Collects and then demolishes Acids, asserting dominance. And that's what's gonna be needed to get back into this game, right? This could be a 3-1, which is recoverable. Tough, but recoverable.
Yeah, with 2 frontliners, it's going to have to come down to a lot of JAKEB to kind of rick, rattle, and roll through this fight and carry a lot of that momentum, as the tanks just don't have the mobility to snowball a fight, kind of like a Cassie does, popping the scout. So they're going to have vision of all the Impact players coming back from this fight. But with 4 ultimates available, Impact have plenty of tools to get this payload push kick-started.
Excellent gourd placement, going to force JAKEB back. Doesn't want to stand in that slow. Makoa moving around. He's got the Ancient Rage. I don't think they're going to want to use ults on Impact right now.
It'll be interesting to see. It's a very tough decision here for Nano. Trying to secure this kill onto ElZulu. He's actually going to pay for that overextension with his life. A minute remains. JAKEB again able to kill out the first member for Team EWA. Trying to stabilize for his team. Trying to get something done, but a big reversal from Acids. And he's going to get healed up by PowTecH just to top it all off. So now that's the difference here in these team comps. Once one nveeus dies on Victor, he can hand the team fight off to Acids on Androxus to carry off. If he dies, he can hand the team fight off to the Drogos there. Cacanuck can carry it through. There are so many options for Impact to win these fights.
Whereas really, EWA's just gotta rely on JAKEB, and man, he's got the skills for it, but I don't know if he can do it by himself. So much damage coming in these flanks, and while he's accurate and will there force Acids back, EWA's really in a tough position.
This is, they have to defend from their base. They're gonna have to give up some ground here on the payload. Great angle here on the healer. She's just not responding to the shots to the back of her head. DarkRider is going to be sent back to base there by Acids and just continue to keep the momentum high. Once they got it going, Impact popping the Immortal just to save himself. I don't know how much more time it's really going to buy him. Just that 4 seconds there, maybe to buy for JAKEB to get aggressive, but no kills coming off the back of that yet. JAKEB, one more shot left in his life pool. It will be eradicated. Uh-oh, this is going to be big. 800 damage, though. Isn't going to be too much there. Cursed Arm over the top as well. Onto the Shaolin. We are in overtime. There's just so many ultimates here.
Yeah, and at this point, I think Impact is just saying, let's convert, let's just end this real quick, try and demoralize EWA as much as possible. They messed up on the first capture point, and then from there, Impact just said, let's go all the way immediately.
And that's just how that draft is going to play out with the double tank. You're leaning on that. You're leaning on just being big, beefy bodies. Sitting on the point, you're not going to do more damage than the other team. You're not going to get more kills than the other team, but you're just going to outlast them. You're going to stand on the point longer. You're going to capture more payloads. You're going to push more payloads. But if that doesn't go your way off the bat, these tank comps fall off very hard once you get those wreckers and those cauterizers online.
Yeah, and the wreckers and cauterizers, man, they're online after the first round. Looking at the damage numbers, actually the healing numbers, right? Maldamba 55k, Ying 33k. DarkRider didn't even have a chance to do his job, man. That was quick and brutal. So the question is, was that a
bounce
fluke?
Back.
Can you recover?
You kind of have to go all in with that. These are teams that probably haven't played each other very often.
Yeah.
We are going to be moving over to Jaguar Falls, where tank comps can be more successful. So the thing here is now, with that defeat, you can't be too scared to go to this now. You can't be like, oh god, our tank comp sucks. Like if Frozen Guard's like not
when
really
it's appropriate,
a great
you
map
gotta
for
do
it. We see long range kind of damage succeed more often there. So not being too afraid to move to the tank comp, hopefully here on Jaguar Falls, could be very important.
All right, well, let's check the draft. Let's see what EWA's got up their sleeve. Are they going to run it back? Salty run back. It can work.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've done it. I've called for that.
Impact here with the first pick. Probably still going to stick with that Makoa.
Yep.
But
solid.
I mean, Barrack we saw coming in If both these teams want to go for a double frontliner composition, it is going to require somebody to pick up that barrack alongside the Ruckus Fernando as well. But sticking with the Cassie, a big comfort pick for a lot of people right now.
Don't need to change that.
She's been very strong for a long time in Paladins.
But JAKEB, that game was like the first time that Cassie, I've been like, all right.
Yeah.
That made sense. That was doing the work it needed to do. ElZulu opting for the early Drogos, and it makes sense because Cacanuck was just wrecking. Shaolin, though, Impact is going to have that on their side, and that didn't really work for ElZulu. I didn't really see the Impaler planted combo ever.
Yeah, it's tough to pull off sometimes, especially from a decent amount of range with a lot of mobility like the Androxus and stuff like that in your face. There was a lot of pressure on these backliners. Fernando locked in, though, for Team ElZulu, still with yet to get a healer or a second tank if they want to go that route. But these guys seem like they all like to be the fragger, right? And that was working for them. When they lost one, they still had two to go to, where it just wasn't really the case.
I like this, though, right? Take away Impact's picks. Just take them. Take the Androxus, take the Drogos. Cassie worked. You don't need to change that. It is going to be double tank from Impact. So now we've got sort of a reversal of what happened in the last game.
Reversal of fate. But Drogos is a very good answer to try and deal with that. And the thing about Shaolin and Victor, those are two characters that can very easily step up and be enough damage for you in a team fight.
And granted, like, Androxus isn't the flankiest flank, right?
Sure.
He's not super high flying. He's not the kind of guy that can always get to your backline. So with the double tank, I think Shaolin and Victor might be able to stay safe.
If they position properly, I think around both of these tanks, if they communicate when they need help from that Makoa, who is very good against Androxus because he can just dredge anchor straight through that defensive ability reversal. Ripen Gourd, though, for PowTecH Maldamba, Rika for Acid's Shaolin, Pluck for ElZulu's Makoa. Once again, Flux Generator again on Cacanuck's Ruckus, Gunnery for nveeus' Victor.
JAKEB rolling with Exaction. It's going to be Godslayer on Invocal. Scorch from William, Focusing Lens from DarkRider, and Protection using Combustible.
Coming out of the gate here, ElZulu with 2 Cauterizes, 2 Wreckers as well. PowTecH, the only one who selected his item thus far. The other guys still maybe talking it out. They have a lot of good options here for Wreckers versus Cauterize. So it is going to be the
Master Riding, though, for
Victor. Yeah, he wants to be the first one.
Early pick.
I think, to the point, be able to get there in position, ready for that dredge anchor when the enemy team rounds the corner.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can just pull Fernando and just burst him down, that could be all the advantage you need in that team fight. So let's see what Zulu can get. Doesn't go for the immediate pluck. Will end up plucking Fernando, but I don't think there's really that much follow-up as he's at 40% health. A 1v1 between Acids and Invocal. But with your back against the wall against Shaolin, I don't know.
He's just going to give it up, actually, here. Returning to his team. First Blood going to Ying there on the DarkRider. The Focusing Lens burst damage. We saw it yesterday. Definitely with Gary. Here comes a nice reversal, but going to be able to slither that one out. Going into the planet here is a good angle. Trading out 1 kill, but ElZulu, total control of this point thus far. 60% and climbing.
Well, and I think a big part of that was the Shaolin getting embroiled in that 1v1 and not doing the damage in the team fight, because the tanks aren't going to really win that fight for you. You need the damage dealers just fighting as well, burning down the Fernando, who really didn't even get close to dying.
But Impact this time coming in and having that damage online. Acids finds one. nveeus gets one as well. ElZulu narrowly escapes with his life, but the damage over time effect from Fernando's Flame Lance will take him down. Now closing the gap here, almost passing now ElZulu's capture point percentage, with William falling as well. Dragon Punch might be the only crutch left to lean on to try and break into this point.
Yeah, but there's so much healing coming out of PowTecH right now.
Big misplay.
Yeah, they just didn't go in at the right time. Protection doesn't even get a kill with Dragon Punch, as I believe the, I want to say that was aerial advance, allowing Ruckus to move back with 1, 2, 3 dashes to keep himself alive. Yeah,
just too late there. Isn't going to find a kill and is going to be slain on top of that, losing the payload. So Impact come back, swing things back in their favor with this double frontliner composition, showing that they can not only run with and against it. 2 minutes remain here for this payload push to try and find conversion.
We do have Dread Serpent online, and there's a big group up. Ah, man, I don't know. I think a really well-placed Dread Serpent can just open that fight right up, especially with the Victor ultimate coming out. That was a strangely timed barrage.
Yeah, just trying to punish that clumping a little bit here. Fernando falling lower and lower. One more shot's going to do it. Both tanks will escape for their life for the time being, but Invocal on the backline was able to pick up nveeus' Victor and is now looking towards the Shaolin, but it will be JAKEB from the right flank here. He's going to get plugged in. He's going to eat a lot of damage, but he's going to be narrowly kept alive and continues to roll, continues to land these shots, and continues to benefit from the massive lifesteal in his loadout.
And the helpful healing of Yang, those illusions popping for about 400 every time they notice you is going to help out a great deal. JAKEB, though, blasted down with the help of Shaolin and Ruckus.
Caught out without his roll shot's going to be very dangerous. Fire Spits landing in the back line here. Onto 2, but that should be healed up pretty quickly. Now onto 3.
Wow.
So much damage being brought through by protection right now. Already has his Dragon Punch charged back up even after that whiff here. He's going to go ahead and go into it, get this push, kickstart it, get it pushed off the ground. And Cacanuck's actually going to advance straight into it. A lot of damage before he goes down. That kill is going to be credited over to Ass. He's continuing to roll through. Cassie in the backline dueling out with Makoa here. Has a good angle to just kite him around and bring him down. It's one of Cassie's biggest strengths.
Yeah, if Makoa does not hit that dredge anchor, he's not going to find that kill. But Ancient Rage clearing a lot of space. Victor trying to find a position to get people in the spawn and keep them there. And suddenly Impact's just pushing, no problem. That fight looked like EWA had control, but I think they lost control over their base as it was just JAKEB fighting Makoa. Yeah. And yeah, she can kite the Makoa as long as she dodges the dredge anchor. When he uses Ancient Rage, you're not going to kill him. Yeah, just really good use of their ultimates there. Spacing them out, keeping the pressure up over the course of that round. Never getting fully on the back foot was very important for Impact. And I want to shout out nveeus real quick here. On this Victor on a 5 streak right now, one of the toughest things to do as a Victor is, you know, when somebody is in your face, it's just easy to just back off and try and run away because it's just kind of a natural reaction, right? Yeah. But good Victor players know how much damage this character can do and know how well Victor can go toe-to-toe with almost anyone. And frankly, nveeus is just really playing brave right now. He knows exactly how much damage he can do, when he can get in, when he can get kills, and he has chosen to go hard around corners that most players probably wouldn't. Yeah, you got to time that grenade, and it could be exactly the thing that you need to just finish up the little bit of extra damage someone's trying to do to you. 3 ammo left in the clip, and he runs out there. That was a bit of a misplay here. JAKEB moving in from the side, trying to get an angle, but EWA, they've lost their tank, and a 1-for-1 trade, tank for tank,
look at how brave
is not in their favor.
Look at how brave this is right now from nveeus, just sitting on the point. He will eventually go down, but 3 kills already gone the way of Team Impact. Acid's easily going to be able to clean that one up. Can we take a look at the scoreboard? I think he may have switched to hipfire Victor there before leaving the spawn, actually, and it looks like he did. nveeus did, in fact, switch to firefight Victor, so going to go for that 30% extra damage, and that's something you can pull off. Like we said, if you're brave enough, it is close quarters fighting on Jaguar Falls, and nveeus thinks he can be close enough, thinks he can be brave enough to just go in and hit fire, and that does a ton of damage if you are able to land shots consistently. Ooh, JAKEB with the 1v1, and Acids goes down, no problem. 54% for EWA. And PowTecH, man, that was a nice little bit of spitting Cobra. Absolutely. 70% on the point for EWA, 72 for Impact. So this has been a brawl much bloodier than any of the others we've seen before. 89% and climbing. So Impact, they need to get on here, and they need to get on soon, but the payload too little, too late. It's going to go the way of Team EWA. They're going to move things back in their favor, 1-2. Man, I feel like PowTecH is doing a lot of damage. There's a barrage coming out, but Fernando doesn't seem to care too much. Actually able to block that with his shield. The hipfire, though, he cares about that. Absolutely blasted by Victor. Now in 1v1 with Androxus. That fight's not going to go your way. Yeah, very, very, especially if Androxus getting the jump there. We're going to have the advantage. 12 streak, though, for PowTecH, being very slippery. No pun intended there. The Snake Man very hard to bring down. Cacanuck's in a bit of a rough spot now. Doesn't look like he has an advance left. He's going to have to just jump his way out. The emitter shield is there to keep him alive. Fernando, a little bit caught out here, but he'll be able to charge himself back to safety for the time being. To take charge as 2 ultimates come out from EWA, forcing Impact back in their base, but only really finding 1 kill picked up by DarkRider. Probably just going to try and heal up and look for a second push, maybe a pick. But it's Makoa who's the master of picks, and you know, you got to make sure that your team is standing behind that shield and using properly. Wow, he died quick. ElZulu just dropping like a fly there. He's going to be taken down, but still 1 frontliner left to lean on. But William with the proper positioning here. He's played very well. Cacanuck has Impact just pushed back into a corner here. Has them all under the heat of the Flame Lance right now. Shield up in front of the spawn door, refusing to let Impact out and fight. Yeah, and he's dropping out of combat, so he will get some of that out of combat healing. Victor cannot run into a Fernando. 2-2.
And ElZulu, they finally woke up.
Down, but
Good
not
morning.
out. They are very well aware and well equipped and have what it takes to try and get these pushes off the ground. William actually going into that resilience, wants to try and counter out the Dread Serpent from PowTecH, but a couple of other items reaching their later phases here.
Man, but speaking of the Dread Serpent, PowTecH on the 12 streak, he's been slaying.
Yeah.
And I mean literally slaying. He's been getting a lot of kills himself.
Yeah, Maldamba can be pretty tanky and hard to bring down in the back line, and does a decent amount of damage, especially if you get up in his face in an area that he can land.
I think he's actually the highest damage support as long as he's actually hitting you. His range is just very short, so he's usually not hitting you. Maybe you don't think about that as much, but when you're right next to him, man, he just wrecks.
Definitely here. So 2-2, all tied back up, and it is actually ElZulu with those late game cauterizes and wreckers online first. So we'll have to see if that can keep things running in their favor, putting a lot of damage into this Ruck as he's caught out. Doesn't have a lot of support from his teammates. Only his one shot. The Dragon Punch will connect, however, not the highest value Dragon Punch we've ever seen, but a Dragon Punch connected nonetheless.
PowTecH finally falls, and it's going to be some big ultimate charge for William. Very helpful in charging up that Immortal, now 82%. It's Invocal in the fight, 2 on low health. Can he clean it up? No, because that's not low health at all. Zulu activates the Ancient Rage, pops to 10k, and says, you can't solve this math problem.
Gonna dismount a couple members here with the Fireball as well, and just choosing to zone them out, choosing to keep in their face here. Doesn't want to let this Shaolin, doesn't want to let this Maldamba get to healing his teammate, but he is eating a lot of damage here. Might be Maldamba that actually wins this boxing trade. He throws the gore down, eats a Fireball here. Reload stun, get a miss, but ElZulu again with great zoning here from Fernando are able to come away with that team fight and the third payload of the game.
I love the mechanics from William, the way he's activating, deactivating his flamethrower to jump and increase his movement speed just a little bit. Pull it out of position as Jake, but right behind the shield. Dude, William, who is this guy?
That's a little bit of that War Doom wiggle right there.
That's right. He's real good, man.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Fernando players. Because it's almost with the Cassie thing, right? They're both really OG strong characters that have been around for a long time. So there are a lot of good players on these characters that just haven't gotten the chance to shine, but their time is now. Invocal picks up yet another kill here. A lot of burst damage coming through from Invocal. There's a triple before he goes down. Rolling forward onto Shaolin. One more shot's gonna do it. The repulsor field actually keeps him alive.
Yeah, just long enough to clean up that kill. Cacanuck returning to the spawn, but if this gets pushed in, it is going to be the game.
And this looks like it might be just the ultimate to do it. Up and over the Yin clone, straight into the Makoa. The damage mitigation doesn't matter. Does trade out his life. That is the proper counterplay to the Dragon Punch. A lot of damage brought in, but no kills, and they're just going to be healed back up. Invocal did so much damage with that ultimate, but no one there able to drive those kills home. Williams falling lower and lower. Doesn't have the time to stall out, or doesn't have a healer. He's going to charge for his life. But 39 health just isn't enough, and Impact gonna find the stabilization.
I actually think he shouldn't have stalled there. I think he should have stood still and died to let his team group up faster. You got a minute left. ElZulu still has a push. As long as they can break through the front, they can still convert this payload. But they can't get this mounted. They have to be smart.
Sure, so min-max and clock efficiency going to be very important for teams looking ahead in overtime. Master Riding makes Fernando very hard to dismount as he is moving just so quickly. And thankfully, big swing here. Invocal gets hooked, but he gets clipped off and it breaks and then fire spitted off the map. ElZulu coming in with a huge mistake there, getting sent off early.
Barrage is down real quick, and it's Invocal on the right side disrupting a lot. William has fallen as well as JAKEB. So there's 3 members in the fight. Zulu with the respawn, and it looks like the kills weren't quick enough.
Yeah.
But all of Impact's ultimates were blown. That evens up the playing field for the next point. ElZulu still coming out on top of that fight.
Very strong heat haze there from Shaolin player there to try and just stabilize it. Got a lot of damage off onto the Drogos. 3 seconds here. Don't think anyone's going to be able to squeak their way back onto this payload even with those Master Riding cards. And we are going to be all tied up 3-3.
All right, well, let's check it out. Final round. Next capture is going to result in the win. Only one Cauterized 3 coming out from Impact so far. Which
there's the
honestly,
second one coming up. Ruckus and Maldamba now with those. Acid's the only wrecker.
I don't really like that on Maldamba.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not hitting people as much.
Well,
granted, PowTecH actually is, so maybe I'm wrong in his specific case.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't recommend that like all the time on
across.
Maldamba.
Yeah, those high-level Maldambas though, and especially with the buff to the air friction of his left click.
Does go a bit further.
It does go a bit further, and
I still feel like it's hitting shields a lot.
Sure. have to see who's going to be able to break these shields first here. 7 streak, 6 streak, no ultimates available, so this one is going to come down. This is like the first round all over again. It's going to come down to raw skill. Who's hitting their abilities? Who is going to come out on top? Deep Fire Spit's going to connect onto 4. Big damage. It's actually going to charge up the Dragon Punch as well, so an early advantage here for Team EWA.
Man, protection is just blasting away. Acids is pretty low and in need of some protection. Taken down round the side by JAKEB, but now going in from the inner structure. Ying is going to fall, finds herself next to a Victor. Barrage incoming, but that renovation is not going to be successful. It's all about the in-hand as nveeus is gunning them down. JAKEB has to win this 1v1, but Zulu makes it a 1v2.
nveeus is just carrying this team fight through. He's gotten the jump on 4 members of Team EWA and just gets them shredded through with those surprise grenades into the left click. The assault rifle with the hip fire bonus damage, it's just too high, 78%. On the point. It's going to come down to dismounts here. If they can even see an overtime, hopefully Impact.
It's not going to happen. They're not going to make it.
And stay
too far away.
Aggression,
oh, someone contested.
We got the Master Riding in there, Fernando. He's getting ready to pop the shield. He is so low HP. The Hexafire comes out from Cacanuck, finding a lot of damage before he trades his life. This is going the way of Impact. He narrowly
they stepped off. They stepped off as Makoa charged in. A tiny little misplay.
Those hurt.
At the perfectly wrong time, man.
And that probably may have swung the way back in EWA's favor. They already had 3 kills for 2.
They might have been able to have that.
They may have been able to swing that one back. Those definitely hurt the most. Head on over to the stats score screen. This felt like a pretty dang even game there. Protection on
not
the
from a healing side, man.
Yeah.
Maybe, I feel like I'm talking about this a lot. I don't know. I've just been playing healers all weekend, but 133k versus 70k, that is not even close. And in fact, 133k in a 16-minute game displays to me a key failure to use Cauterize properly.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Ying's struggling to keep up. There could be a couple of things that, as a result of that, Invocal and even William were kind of off on their own a lot. JAKEB was kind of off doing his own thing for a good amount of that game, and that makes it tough for Ying to try and keep up. Line of sight is kind of, she needs that at the end of the day. She needs people to be relatively close to her. Yeah. Could be the struggle, could have been a little bit of lack of communication there from the teammates, but it will be Serpent Beach where we head to for game number 3.
Impact is up 2-0. That last one was close. The first one wasn't. So the question is Serpent Beach going to be a fight or
this is going to be pretty important in the draft, and we'll head there just now with Sal. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, how important it is on Serpent Beach to just control the high ground. Yeah. To get characters like Drogos, like Androxus, like Bomb King, who we have not seen at all today in this series, which has been pretty strange. It's been a staple. It's there every game in Europe from yesterday on.
So explain to me, who determines who gets first pick here?
So in game number 1, I think it's going to be higher seed, and then game number 2, it's lower seed, and then once we go from game 3 on, it's the loser. They get
no, loser doesn't get first pick because it's been Impact all 3 games.
They pick if they want first pick or if they want second pick.
Is choosing second pick.
To have the second 2 picks.
Interesting. I guess they really value their double damage.
There's probably more strategy that goes into it.
Maybe they don't like Makoa. Their Fernando was, in fact, I want to say that Fernando was better than Makoa.
Yeah, having the impact, right? If you feel good enough about your Fernando and you just let him have Makoa, there's more strategy that goes into just first picking Makoa, and they want to go ahead and move to that part of their draft. But it will be Makoa, Drogos, Cassie for EWA, and then Shaolin answering back, as well as a Maldamba. So
prioritizing early. They don't want to lose that Maldamba, and it makes sense, man. PowTecH is insane. Insane. And EWA, I think they're always going to pick Cassie top 2.
Yeah, JAKEB.
And then Drogos probably just because Cacanuck's too dangerous with it.
And there it is.
Protection was killing with it. And the Shaolin, man, that didn't seem to work. Now, maybe I want to say Frozen Guard was not representative of this team at all. Like, everything just went wrong. Okay. And that happens. Sometimes you just have really bad games.
Sure.
So they still have to deal with it, though. They're still behind more than one.
They are going to pick up the Victor, in fact, and take that away from Impact, and that was a very strong pickup.
Such a good Victor.
Personally, and it was played a little bit differently. Hipfire Victor is not something we're traditionally used to seeing, but nveeus I think is also equally as comfortable on probably the Ruckus this game. We'll have to see. Androxus picked up to round out as well. So not a lot of mobility on either of these comps in terms of high ground control. EWA just with the Drogos and Androxus, the sole kind of high ground controller for Impact.
But here's the thing, right? In getting Victor, they don't have Androxus, and Invocal was so good.
Yeah. We'll have to see here.
We'll see if he can do the same thing.
As well. This is going to be game number 3. Impact is up 2 games to nothing over EWA right now. Ripen Gourd again for PowTecH, Maldamba, Acids running the God Slayer on his Androxus. Pluck for ElZulu's Makoa there. Cacanuck on the Flux Generator Ruckus, and will be nveeus this time around on Recurve Shaolin.
Invocal looking at the gunnery. William Scorch, he'll probably switch to Aegis. He did last game. Focusing lens on DarkRider, Combustible on Protection, and JAKEB, it's going to be Exaction. 2
Cauterized, 2 Wreckers for the boys of EWA as well. Master Riding quick out of the gate. Kronos for PowTecH. Cacanuck going ahead this time with the Cauterized Wrecker for nveeus. Acid's probably going to go with the Cauterized as well, but has yet to select his item, and there it is.
All right. Cauterized, 2 on each team. PowTecH is going to do more healing this game, probably. The question is it by a little or is it by a lot? Yet again, nveeus going the right side on that Shaolin. It's going to be a quick pull onto the Victor. He doesn't have an answer for that. Flat out, you get pulled, you will die.
Dropping into the planet early to just break down that shield as well. Now we can see ElZulu. He's going to miss that hook, but he's looking for it in the backline. Goes into the shell shield here. Could be a little bit caught out if the members of EWA do elect to collapse on him, but Acids is going to be there, backing him up. He's going to land that reversal, in fact, get the reset on his dash, head straight to the backline, whiff a couple of shots, but at the end of the day, he's going to claim Invocal's life. Now he's caught out. Now he's going to be punished for it, but Impact already 87% on the capture point.
Yeah, and talk about some impact kills. That first one onto the Victor, the second one onto the Victor. He hasn't had a chance to open fire at all. Now JAKEB going down, the payload going down, and Impact, they've got the recipe for success. I think this is gonna be a conversion. We've seen it every game. Take the first point, convert it real quick.
nveeus converting a lot of kills in that last engagement. Now coming back, he did end up falling there on his Shaolin. But the payload definitely coming out of the gate with a lot of momentum, like you mentioned. It's very important. You don't want to get skunked early on, because then you waste a lot of that time you have to push. Here comes Fernando on the high ground, but Invocal has already ripped through Acids. The Impaler arrow is queued up, ready to go. Invocal trying to get back from spawn there. A lot of damage coming out from nveeus. His plan, and puts one more in his face. ElZulu going to be credited for that kill.
Yeah, and that's some early Wrecker itemization from nveeus. You know, there's 2 ways to use your planet. 1, the combo. 2, you just pointed at his shield, man. That shield is dead real quick.
Yeah.
But the payload has stalled for now. Impact has to find a way around to get onto it and continue their push.
So first one of his ultimates here, JAKEB and Shaolin. Actually, Ying coming up as well. He's going to have the Heat Haze available to him if he wants to pop it. Fernando is extremely low. Goes into the planet to just try and shred through some of that shield. Invocal doing a ton of damage, but Repulsor Field mitigating even more. Acids gets the angle and finds Invocal. Protection needs to be aware here. Acids is going in on this backline right now. He's already found 2 kills. Looking for more. Is behind this Fernando shield. Just needs to exploit that angle, but it's JAKEB answering back with 2. Looking for more here. Needs to stay alive. Protection's going to give him the peel that he needs. How much longer can he live? It will be PowTecH, the high accuracy Maldamba player, the final one to fall for Impact.
And Invocal finally getting some kills, getting on the board, doing some damage. And that's the situation you want to be in as that gunnery Victor, right? You want to stand in the back and just get some time to pump out damage. William, though, you can see he got pulled. He had a bad time with it.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, though, because he does have Acids on that Androxus in his face so often in these team fights. Cacanuck finding 2 kills already in this engagement, surging forward with a lot of momentum. JAKEB's in a really bad spot right now. He's caught out completely away from his team. That payload is going to roll in for free. So quick, clean, and simple. And that's what happens when you make so much progress just off the momentum you had from winning the capture point. They pushed that, 60 to 75% of the way just off that first momentum swing.
EWA's having trouble this game yet again, but last game we saw some absolute greatness from this team. They looked so good at times, and I want to see more of them. Like, maybe they lose here, right? Maybe they don't make it through to the finals. Maybe they come back. But there is potential. There is a ton of potential. JAKEB, Invocal, and Protection play so well together on that triple damage. William is such a solid solo tank. Fernando. DarkRider, haven't really seen too much from him yet, but if he's on the roster with other great players, I believe in him.
Absolutely, if they believe in him as well. It's all about making the smart decision. So you want to bring with you, these are a lot of new blood coming in after the Masters land, after seeing, the competition, the chance for success here. 2 kills already off the back of ElZulu's hook, and then 1 just off the back of Acid's pure skill here. finding Invocal once again, coming off big triple kill in the back line for the Ancient.
Honestly, Zulu's not a tank player.
Yeah, not really.
He's a bruiser.
He has the
he has his
Drogo's title equipped as he rides into battle on his
And
turtle.
he is greedy. Let's be real.
Yeah,
Homie's going for those kills.
75% already here. Looking for the dismount on the Fernando. Gonna find it. Doesn't even matter if he goes down here. Pops an early Ancient Rage just to keep swinging away at this Fernando. Hooks him back in. Says, I'm not done with you yet, boy. That shield cooldown is going to be available, but for how long? ElZulu does pay for it with his life. A lot of damage, a lot of response coming out from Team EWA. JAKEB starting to get a lot of momentum. Already 2 kills in this engagement. JAKEB with a triple kill. EWA definitely punishing the overextensions here. Take back control of the point.
And that's the greed we were talking about, but I'm not digging this position. I want to see Victor on the point. Drogo's in the zone. Zulu round the side needs to get taken care of, and that'll do
Fire
it.
Spit and disengage, send the turtle all the way off, free firing rockets into Cacanuck as well, but so much damage mitigation coming through, but it ends up not being enough. Has a beautiful angle here on this backline. Protection needs to continue to shred it apart, and he will, finding yet another kill. One more, and they will take control of this point. EWA with a huge swing. Protection trying to stay alive. ElZulu can smell the blood in the water here. Needs to go big with this salvo. He is so healthy right now. Overtime is solved. The reinforcements are starting to trickle in. The Fire Spit's going to claim the kill, but they're going to trade out.
And then it's just a Victor on the point. That's not going to be able to hold, but JAKEB might be able to. A quick turn, a Tripski for Acid, and it is going to be 3-0. EWA, yet again, looking good. So close.
Man,
taking perfect advantage of the openings that Impact gives them.
Yeah,
but I don't think they know how to, like, force those openings, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, once it was given to them, they definitely have the skill, they have the mentality to try and exploit that, but it's all about finding those opportunities more often than the enemy team is going to try and want to give them to you, but it ends up coming down to triple kills from the damage players to try and swing this team fight. That's how close it was. That's how big of a play needed to be made, and Acid's able to step up for his team after some overextensions.
Invocal on the high ground doing a lot of damage here as Cacanuck trying to stay alive, but he's going to fall to DarkRider. Acid's going up in the air. He has the accursed arm, but he's just going to drift and look for a kill on a Drogo's. Missing a lot of shots. He's not going to get that kill just yet, and the healing's going to start to come through. EWA holding their ground for now and resetting. Now Zulu, he's out of position.
That's kind of been the story of this game. ElZulu will go down, doesn't have the support from his team. A lot of damage being absorbed by this Fernando player, getting his shield up just before death there. PowTecH spreading out from the damage dealers, trying to get them healed up, but also keep himself safe at the same time. Only a minute remaining here. Impact need to get this push off the ground soon.
Dude, William is the Fernando player that, like, deserves to play with a Ceres. I think that would be absolutely unbelievable.
That's a good point. Definitely here, if he's the one that's kind of putting himself out there, there's a lot. Nice Wombo combo there. Dread Serpent in combination with the accursed arm, dropping Fernando shields. 4 clean kills for Team Impact, and they are off to the races once again, but they do know where Protection, the final member for EWA, is. He knows where the Dragon's Lair is. He's going to move in to try and challenge him and just force him out for the time being. Now reinforcements coming through for Protection. Will Acids escape with his life?
Acids is going to get out, but he's drawn everybody up to that upper room. William now dropping onto the point. Ruckus using his Hex of Fire, but getting taken down by the Focus Fire. It's William in the fray, but he's not able to block for DarkRider. Acids is going to try and kill the enemy, but they're all immortal. Wow. He'll still be able to get Invocal, who's out of range of his tank. Protection has respawned and will finally clean up the kill as EWA finally cleans up the team fight. It's only a Shaolin, but he's going to find the tank, and if he's not taken down by JAKEB right away.
He had the heat haze. He popped it, but Scout was ready to go for JAKEB. Immediate reactionary, spots him out with that global vision. The tanks are here, but they are without their healer just now coming around the corner. PowTecH is choosing to try and DPS JAKEB instead of healing his tanks. As a result, Invocal is going to double kill both of them. JAKEB finds a third on the Acids, and EWA able to hold the defense for the time being. And
there is, man. That's what I want to see all the time. They have these windows where they play at like a 100% world-class level, right? Like Kanga's level, D69's level.
Sure.
In these windows. Now you just got to do it all the time.
You got to make the windows
How hard
bigger.
is that? Can't be that hard, right?
And that's what sets good teams apart. The smallest little things, the smallest little mistakes, they can recognize and pounce on and create those windows of opportunity for themselves, and that just comes with experience. And the more team fights these guys see the inside of, the more opportunities they're going to be able to recognize and capitalize on.
I'm just still so impressed, man. I want to see Invocal go big this round, though. That's the thing that I'm looking at, because if that Victor can really pump out the damage, we'll see. Zulu, he's always started the fight. Where's he going to start it from?
It's just changing positioning here. There he is. Surprise Makoa in the backline, rips him apart, goes into Ancient Rage to keep himself alive, and continues to dredge anchor his way into the backline. And it's a struggle for Invocal to do his job when Acids is doing his job so much better.
And the formation is just absolutely demolished, right? Zulu just walks up behind them.
They must have not even spotted it out.
I think what's happening, right, is that
ElZulu doesn't snuck around with a master riding or something?
Yeah, I think they don't have a plan for the start of the round. Zulu knows exactly what they're going to do.
Or they have the same plan every time.
So I was talking to one of our level designers about this, right? And we were talking about how, to an extent, Serpent Beach is kind of solved, right? You go to the high ground, you fight over the high ground, you take the high ground, and then you control the capture point.
Yeah, so
well, I want to disagree with him right now, right? Andrew, if you're watching, I hope you are. Because Impact has found the solution. All right, you're going to go to the high ground? We're going to flank you, and we're going to destroy your damage. Completely break the formation.
They just come around and kind of that horseshoe maneuver and just pinch it up, and they just come out on top almost every fight, shattering the formation there. You could see EWA had no chance to come back after that, you know, heartbreaking loss in that first team fight in the final round. Just a clean kill there. And 72,000, the top damage in the game. JAKEB on this Cassie. You can see why they prioritized
He made it
so
work
highly.
Yeah, the Cassie worked, the Drogos worked. Victor, when he wasn't getting stepped on by everyone,
he sat on him the whole game. And that's his job.
So did Zulu.
That's what he's supposed to. Yeah,
everyone.
That's true.
Honestly,
that's true.
Yeah, but in the moments when Invocal didn't have 3 people breathing down his neck, he was doing a lot of damage.
Few and far between. Probably about 3 minutes total of that 13-minute game, but he able to squeak out with 51,000 damage. We are ready. That's going to do it for this series. Congratulations to Team Impact for their 3-0. They will move on to the finals today to face off against the winners of that upper bracket semifinal. That was Astral Authority there. We will be getting you that game fairly shortly here. It'll be pretty interesting to see. Hopefully we got all the kinks worked out in the system here. But the first seed, I mean, they're definitely, I think, going to be a little bit contested today. And these guys, they take it seriously, but Astral Authority, they got kind of a janky draft. They do some of the some of that weird stuff.
Can't wait, man.
That double
I love
pip healer.
weird. I love weird.
I think today, if you're going to see it, it might be the first Inara pick. That's Astral Authorities. They're the guys that kind of pick that.
Yo, sign me up. Sign me up.
I want to see a Willow today. You haven't seen any Willows yet.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
You gotta make a wish. You gotta believe.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back
the
with the next game in just a few, so stay tuned. I'll see you there.